time. Over to you, Michael.
Well said, Jane. Thank you. Stress. It's one thing that all of us have experienced or will experience in our lives. You throw in a pandemic, add in the soaring cost of living, and in my household, an infant baby with some serious gas. It's no wonder that a few of us are feeling a little overwhelmed at times. So how can we effectively manage the pressure before it leads to burnout? Well, here to help us is peak performance expert, Dr. Delatorro, Big Deal McNeil II, live from New York. Thanks for your time on this. Let's just define a couple of things before we start. What's the difference between being overwhelmed and being burnt out?
Fantastic, Michael. I'm really excited about this opportunity to have this conversation. So I need you to understand that burnout basically is the candle that's out of wax. Literally, there is nothing left. No matter what you try to do with that wick, it's not going to burn. It's like the car that's out of gasoline. You're literally riding on fumes. That's burnout. And you can tell you're burned out when no matter how much sleep you get, you literally still feel exhausted. No matter what you accomplish and achieve, it kind of feels lackluster. And you kind of have a jaded and a negative perspective towards life no matter what's going on. Now, overwhelm is a little bit different. Overwhelm is something that we tend to live with on a day-to-day basis. It's almost like that rubber band that we try to wrap around all of our folders in our office that we've kind of overextended. It's just putting way too much on our plate every single day and constantly and chronically never getting enough done. Now, the reason why I experience both burnout and overwhelm, Michael, is three primary things. Number one, the first reason why we experience burnout is because we don't ask for help. Many of us graduated from the university of I can do it all by myself.
Oh, yeah.
So we tend to not ask for help. The second reason why we struggle with burnout and overwhelm is because 9 times out of 10, we're thinking about too many aspects of a process or too many aspects of a project at the exact same time. And the third reason why we experience burnout and overwhelm 9 times out of 10 is because we don't delegate. And if you scratch below the surface of the reason why most professionals don't delegate, it's because we don't trust other people to perform at the level of excellence that we do.
It's so simple when you spell it out like that, but it's harder to actually implement. Talk us through, I guess, ways of minimising stress at work, for example.
Yes, so we have to understand something, Michael. Work is like weeds. I'm going to say that again. Work is like weeds. It's going to take on as much of our lives as we allow it. So the first thing that we got to do is we have to set healthy boundaries. That makes sense. We got to set healthy boundaries at work, right? The statistics are rampant as to the number of people, professionals, who check work-related messages, work-related email when they're not on the job, it's not an emergency, and even on vacation. So one of the first things that we got to do is we got to set healthy boundaries. The second thing that we have to do that's really, really important is we have to kind of obey that Japanese proverb that says, be where your feet are. Be present in the moment. When you're at work, focus on work. When you're at home, focus on home. But be present wherever environment you find yourself in. The third thing is we got to learn how to say no. I think a lot of us grow up, Michael, we're as people pleasers because we're always trying to avoid conflict. So we say yes to everything and everyone. And every time you say yes to everything and everyone, you overload your plate and you don't have enough time or energy to get everything done. So we have to learn how to say no and basically let people know what our expectations are and what our limitations are. And that takes transparency and vulnerability.
Working, what did you say? Work is like the weeds. Well, some people are working from home at the moment. So how do we get the work-life balance when the whole thing's taking place in the house?
Absolutely. So our cars have a place at our house, it's the garage. Our clothes have a place at the house, that's the closet. So our work needs a place at the house. So set up a home office and work focused in that area. Another thing you could do is set up a daily success routine that includes taking breaks, getting about 10 or 15 minutes out in the sunshine, getting some exercise in, eating healthy things, staying connected with friends and family that love and care about you, but making sure you're not letting that work that's in that home office literally seep out to all the other areas of your house and take over everything.
That's fascinating. A daily success routine. Just talk us through a couple of steps in yours because you are full of juice this morning. So like, what does your daily success routine look like?
Michael, fantastic. As soon as I wake up in the morning, before I do anything, I grab my gratitude journal and I make a list of 8 things that I'm grateful for the day, before the day even begins. And I also take time to say a quick prayer, whether you say that to God or divine source or whatever you believe. I'll say a quick prayer of gratitude and expectation, and I set an intention as to what I want to happen that day. I stay connected to good friends. I believe in listening to positive music and positive podcasts, and I love to read about 8 or 10 pages of personal development that keeps me focused on my goals and my dreams.
You are on. You're good at what you do. Just for the rest of us, normal humans, heading home, how do we perhaps stop bringing that stress that we take from work to our loved ones? What are some strategies?
Michael, that's a significant question, man, because listen, from now on, we cannot give work our best and give our friends and family our rest. Our friends and family don't deserve our leftovers. So it's vitally important that we learn how to detox, how to compartmentalize. So if you're commuting back home from a work day, 3 things, simple things you can do right now. Number 1, listen to some really great music that puts you in a peak state, right? Yeah. So that you can start to shift over from being in work mode to being in home mode. Number 2, listen to a good podcast or listen to something that really inspires you and uplifts you. Number 3, make sure that you have some kind of an outlet, right? Whether it's a walk in the sunshine or yoga time or walking your pet, do something that kind of shifts your state. And then number 4, and this is a really cool one, shift your language. Shift from I have to go home to make dinner to I get to go home to make dinner. Shift from I have to go home and take care of the kids to I get to. The moment we shift our language, and we talk about this in the book, Shifting to a Higher Gear, when you shift your language from you have to you get to, you shift from obligation to opportunity.
Thanks for transferring some of that energy this morning, Doctor. You can find Dr. Delatoro's book, Shift into a Higher Gear. It's in all major bookstores. Davina, over to you.
Jenna, whatever is